Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So, with this study, one of the largest findings is that there's an entirely different segmentation that makes sense for social media users than is the case of offline consumers. And what we've discovered is that we can break down social media users according to the way that they use social media into three groups. The first group we're calling the initiators. It's 1 in every 4, 26%, and these are the people who they're starting something. They're the ones who are initiating behaviours, they're initiating points of view, threads, comments, these kinds of things. And those people tend to be actually a bit more mature than the average social media user. They are higher earning, they're very sophisticated, very savvy, and quite discerning. So things that other people would like, they won't necessarily like. And they use, what sets them apart, other than the fact that they are the ones who start things, is they tend to have, they tend to prefer to use very advanced and sophisticated ways of connecting with people. So for example, rather than just sending people messages on SMS, they prefer to find a new friend and then have that friend react to something that they've posted. So they're very much about the intersection between friends and brands. Now the second group that we've discovered, which is also another quarter or so of users, we call them the commenters. And as the name suggests, those commenters are actually those people who like to react to what the initiators have posted. So what they do is they're finding things online that they're interested in, and they actually enjoy reacting to things that inspire them. So they love being part of the conversation, they love having a role to play, and they themselves are quite savvy people. They like to be in touch with everything, and they're looking for things that are interesting and then reacting to them. So they're the commenters. The third group, we're calling these people a funny name, the gawkers, because just like those birds who just gawk at things but don't say anything, these people just read other people's comments. They very rarely respond. And this group of people is the whole one half of all social media users, and they just like to stay in touch. They just like to know what's going on out there in the social media world, which they see as being very important. So they're not the kinds of people who join in conversations, they're not the kinds of people who start anything, but they certainly like to know what's happening. And this is really because they are younger, generally, and they don't have the confidence, perhaps the personal confidence, to start something, but they certainly like to be in touch with what's going on. So they're the gawkers. So three kinds of consumers make up really the social media users, and the social media users is perhaps the single most dynamic, most interesting consumer group in the world today. It's hard to think of any other consumer group who's doing more and more differently than these groups. So yeah, very interesting.